You're imbalanced woman.
Huh? What is Scruffy looking for stuff? It calls to you.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to our show. We're a brand new podcast, and we're from 3 different countries. First, I got my neighbor to the north, Taylor from Canada.
Hello.
And we also have from all the way across the pond, we have Jack, but he's actually on assignment in the Outer Rims this weekend. We'll be hearing from him and about his adventures a little bit later on. Like I said, we are a brand new podcast. This is our first few episodes. We hope you're going to sit back, relax, and enjoy it. As you can tell from the name, we are going to be diving into all things in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and explore the Force.
Yeah, we will. So, how are you today, Jimmy?
I am good. It's been a long week, but it's been a successful week. My high school swim team, my girls swim team, has won their 5th consecutive league title.
You won?
So that was exciting. Got to jump. Yeah, we won again. The girls and the boys have been very successful.
Oh man,
So
it all
was
goes
pretty
back to
fun.
the coach.
Oh yeah, my assistant coaches maybe they stay out of their way. They do a great job. But yeah, it's been a busy week. It's been a fun week. It's been rewarding. We've got one more week with the girls, one more week with school, and then I'll be hitting the summertime. So I'm pretty excited.
And then you're free.
Yes, be free for about 2 months.
Well, you're the opposite of all the moms that have to actually take care of their kids during the summer.
Yes, absolutely.
My week has been very crazy too. The usual, tons of weird zoo stuff and family stuff but not a whole lot of Star Wars stuff this week. So what the heck? So I'm really glad that we're chatting today because I need this outlet. I need it with everybody.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah, I haven't had a very Star Warsy week myself either. So.
Well, it looks like we still have people listening to us, so it looks like we're doing pretty good. Hey.
Yes, it's great. We're getting there. Thank you to everyone who's listened to us on Spotify and who's watched us on YouTube. We appreciate you. If you can leave a like, you can share it. You can leave comments, suggestions, whatever you want. We would love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, and we have been hearing from you guys, and we're getting all of these awesome messages saying that, like, good job, guys, on the show, and it's really good. It's emotional. We weren't expecting this, and thank you, guys. Thank you. We were expecting a slow burn, but we've been thrown into the fire, which is actually awesome. And it's more than we could have ever asked from you guys. So thank you all for following us and sharing our videos and liking everything, even though we're just a bunch of crazies that like Star Wars. But anyways, thanks, guys. We love it. We love it. All right, let's start off with some news, some juicy Star Wars news. What do you got, Jimmy?
All right, so first thing we've seen is Freddie Prinze Jr. says he's done with the role of Kanan Jarrus.
What?
I thought that was obvious from how Rebels ended for him. But, I guess he's trying to shut down any rumors that he may be coming back as Kanan for anything, maybe in the Ahsoka TV show or something, any future projects.
That would make sense if his messages are getting blown up. But, oh, are you coming back? And he's like, no, because they didn't cast me. Probably. Okay. Next, Andor wins the Peabody Award in the in entertainment category. The annual Peabody winners are a collection of stories that powerfully reflect the pressing social issues and vibrant emerging voices of our day. From the major productions to local journalism, the Peabody Awards shine a light on the stories that matter.
I think it's a pretty big win. Andor's been doing well in all these different areas, and I think that getting this, it's got to be exciting for that crew to be doing stuff outside of the typical Star Wars awards for
Yeah.
music and everything like that, to know that they're having an impact, and that will have to pull more viewers in. I think people who may not be interested in Star Wars wanting to see what they're tackling. And I know we haven't talked about Andor, but I feel like that
Not
TV
yet.
show could have been set in not yet. That show could have been anything. It just happened to be happening in the Star Wars universe, and I think that's what made it so great.
Yeah. That whole
We
show
also
could be in a completely different universe. It would be amazing still.
Yeah, it could be in any universe, yes. We also have news coming out from The Acolyte. The showrunner, Leslie Headland, insists that the focus will still remain on the female villains, which is exciting.
Ooh.
I don't know if we've had... and I also noticed it said villains.
Multiple.
So it looks like... because, it didn't say female villain. It said villains on the on her quote.
Little bit
So
Easter egg there for people.
Yeah, possibly. She was super excited at Celebration. She pulled myself. I know she pulled Jack into the excitement of the show. So, and I think that'll get people excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jaleel White confirms that he will play a pirate in Skeleton Crew. Famous as Urkel from Family Matters television show.
You never watched that. You're probably too young, aren't you? For Family Matters. And you're Canadian, so I think this might have been
it should have been a Jack one.
For you. Well, I don't know if they would have had that over there either, but he was like the nerdy kid in Family Matters that had his pants pulled up to his belly button and suspenders. This pretty famous for that. So, but yeah, I think it was a pretty slow Star Wars week. So as far as the news is concerned, we can jump into our Force encounters. Now, I know, like we said, Jack is on assignment in the Outer Rims. He had 2 different events, I believe, that he covered. And so we'll be hearing from him a little bit later on. I know he went out and he met some folks from the planets out there, and he's got some videos for us and some audio. So we're excited because he definitely had the most Force encounters this weekend.
Yeah,
I had one small one. One of my students who works at the local theater brought me the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary movie poster. And I almost wept. So I'm very excited to get that framed and put up. I love that poster.
So that kid's getting an A this year in your class.
Yes, bribery will work, kids. Remember that. Like I tell all my students, I'm size Star Wars in everything. So, how about you, Taylor? Do you have any Force encounters this week?
Yeah, actually. So as you can hear, I kind of have a little bit of a cold. So I've had some lung issues in the past. So if I have a chesty cold that's like a little bit longer than like just your usual cold, I'll go into the hospital and I get an x-ray just to make sure everything's fine on my lungs. And this week I went in and I literally was talking to Pedro Pascal's doppelganger, or his twin brother. I'm not even joking. And I'm not even joking. The same hair, the stubble, everything, but in Dr. Scrubs with like a notepad. And I was so close to being like, can I just get a photo with you? But I'm texting my husband this is happening, and he's like, don't you dare. So I was actually chatting with him for a bit about my new job at the zoo, and he was pretty impressed that I can drive the train. Jimmy, did I mention that my train was actually built in 1983 in Kansas?
I did not know that. Very cool.
It was. It's a mini train, but it's actually a true train, and it was built in Kansas, and I wanted to tell you that this week. But yeah, so I pretty much met low budget Pedro Pascal this week, and he wrote me a prescription. So I've got his signature. I'm good to go. That's my experience with him.
Fake Pedro.
Fake AliExpress Pedro. He was super friendly too, just like actual Pedro. So that was awesome.
Did you ask him if he's a Star Wars fan?
I did. I actually told him a Star Wars joke, and he laughed really hard. And I can't even for the life of me remember what joke it was, but he loved it. And I was super impressed. Like, that's why I was this close to asking him for a photo, because I'm like, he wouldn't mind, but I didn't want to be a complete freak. So yeah, that was my week.
Yeah, we have to go.
I have his
Well, it sounds
name.
like a
We
pretty
can
exciting
stalk
week.
him.
All right.
Stalkers are us in
Very
Canada.
cool. There you go. Look out. All right. So, sounds like you got a great Force Encounters. I'm excited to hear from Jack.
Yes.
But we're going to go ahead and dive into our main topic.
Whew, it's a spicy one this week.
This is one that you selected. Yeah, this is a such spicy one. It actually started back in 2006 when Lucasfilm became a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company. And then eventually in 2012, Disney is going to acquire Lucasfilm from George Lucas himself. And here's a short clip of George explaining why he sold the franchise to Disney.
I'm doing this so that the films will have a longer life and so that more fans and people can enjoy them into the future. It's a very big universe I've created, and there's a lot of stories that are sitting in there.
Do you want to go over some of the financial sides of things?
Sure. So when Lucasfilm was in the process of doing all the paperwork to sell to Disney, they had accountants come in and do a big project research on it to see how much this company is actually worth to this day, and guess how much Lucasfilm was worth back in 2012. It's not what you expect.
I know he signed for like $4 billion or something insane like that. Was that what it was worth?
They quoted that it was only worth $3 billion. But they gave him an extra $1.5 billion. Why not? Right? Why not?
Oh man. Only $3 billion.
Damn.
For Lucasfilm.
What's it worth now, Jimmy? To this day, what is it worth right now?
Well, I'm seeing here. I know they paid him $4.05 billion, and then I see that the Star Wars saga is reportedly worth like $70 billion, and it ranks 5th in the highest grossing franchise films. So that's insane to me. Like, I just can't even fathom. I mean, on a teacher salary, I can't fathom $1 million, let alone $70 billion. So, but that's kind of how things went. And I know that happened, and people were excited, people were scared, people were
People
sad.
were pissed.
People were pissed. But today what we're going to talk about a little bit is our feelings on it, what we thought about when we heard that news, if that's changed at all, and then we'll kind of talk about some of the stuff that's come out. We're not here to bash anybody.
No.
Star Wars is Star Wars. It's for everyone, but
everybody has their opinions.
Into it. Yes. And that's one thing too, is people need to remember that, we're sitting here talking about this. I don't take my word as the gospel. I'm not other certain podcasters or YouTubers in the world, but this is my opinion. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We can have a spirited discussion, but I will still have my opinion most likely. And, I think there's no reason to get too insane about it. It is a made up universe.
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away. So what were your original, so you hear this news, and I don't know about you, but in 2012, I can't even think about where I was at in 2012, but I know this news came out, and what were your first reactions to hearing that, Disney has acquired Lucasfilm?
Well, as you guys already know, I didn't actually start watching Star Wars until 2012. So, but it wasn't because of this news that made us watch it. It was, honestly, at the time, it was my boyfriend wanting to show it to me. And I wanted to see it too, because I had never been able to really watch it before. So when he said that he had all 6 movies, I'm like, hell yeah, let's watch them. But I do remember I worked at Canadian Tire at the time. And I remember sitting at the self-checkouts. So you're literally sitting there watching people do their own orders through, and then I was half zoning out listening to, I can't even remember what it was. It was like a some podcast news or something on my headphones, and I remember hearing it, and the first thing I thought was, oh, so they're going to make more Star Wars movies. And honestly, I hadn't gotten into them yet, but I wanted to. And hearing that they were going to probably, like, Disney's not going to buy Lucasfilm just to do nothing with it. It's like, this is going to be big in the future. And it did get me excited, even though I hadn't seen them yet. And I know that might sound stupid, but I was excited because it honestly just means more Star Wars. More Star Wars content. People, come on. That's what we all want, right?
Yeah, I think that's what we'll end up talking about here in a little bit. But yeah, I kind of the same way. I remember someone showing me the article, and I read that, and I was like, "Well, what does that mean?" And there hadn't been Star Wars, and there's all these rumors about TV shows that George Lucas was trying to create and things like that. But then you watch the interview with George, Kathy, and they talk about one of the first things that she says that we will be making new movies. And that got everybody excited, got everybody riled up. People started, doing their own versions. And I think people need to learn to temper their expectations and understand that they just need to let the movie come out.
Yeah.
It is going to be what it's going to be. There is all kinds of crazy theories and different things like that. And, of course, people love The Force Awakens. People hated The Force Awakens. People liked it, then hated it. And I just feel like just
Yeah,
enjoy
you know what? And you know what?
So, but I was excited because I knew it was
Yeah.
more was coming, and that's
good news. And I don't know. Yes, you're right. Everybody has their own opinion. Everyone has their own feelings towards this. But like, some people like cheesecake. Some people don't like cheesecake. Like, whatever, right? Everybody's different. And that's why I think they're trying to make so much diversity in Star Wars these days.
in 2012. Kathy Kennedy was appointed president of Lucasfilm, and on October 30th of 2012 was when the news broke that it was selling it. It made it obvious that George had put her in a position to take over and kind of steer the ship in his absence. And obviously that has been met with mixed emotions as well. People are calling for her head. People love her. She seems to, he put her there for a reason. I don't know. That's the one thing I think is hard too about all this stuff is we'll never know what actually is going on. They're never going to tell us like why George picked her. Honestly, I don't feel like we ever get honest. But how do you feel about Kathy Kennedy? I mean, there's all these rumors. It's been a rumor since she took over that she's done in a year. She's done. She's going to be.
There's
forever.
so many rumors.
I know she signed a contract extension.
Yeah, honestly, I wanted to look up some facts on our show today before we came on, and all I could find was Kathy Kennedy is resigning in 2023. Kathleen Kennedy is being like fired in 2023. But why? Why do people have to? Why does somebody feel the passion that they have to go on there and write this? Like, maybe they believe it's true, but honestly, like, everyone's going to hate me, but I like Kathy Kennedy. I see her passion for Star Wars. I know she's a Star Wars fan. She likes all the Indiana Jones stuff. Like, she's been in it for a little while. She's a Star Wars fan, guys. Why are we ripping her apart? Like, she's doing her best. She's not coming out maliciously saying anything bad. And honestly, like, when people are so negative about stuff, like, honestly, she's doing her best, regardless of how well she's doing it. Let's not be so negative. We're Star Wars fans. Can't we all just like the same cake? So she actually was sick at Star Wars Celebration this year. I don't know if any of you noticed. She was very quiet on stage, but it's because she was actually feeling super under the weather. But she still showed up. She still did it. She was still there. And honestly, I don't know. Well, let's be honest. We don't know if we really trust George Lucas's like opinion. He said Kathy Kennedy is the best for this. I believe that she's perfect for this. But George Lucas also gave us, Droids in the Void, or that Clone Wars episode. So, but I'm not bothered by her. And without Kathy Kennedy taking over, we would not have so much good stuff, so much good cake, right?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think she stumbled a little bit. I think she was a little
Yeah.
bit excited. She announced a lot of things that haven't come through.
Yes, actually.
But I don't think, obviously we're not in Hollywood. That's my only real knock on her. Um, I feel like the job she's done fine. I wouldn't want that job. Like, I wouldn't want
Hell
that pressure. I
no.
mean, I'm scared enough getting bad reviews on just being a podcaster
Yeah.
or whatever. I can't imagine the whole world staring at me for these decisions. But I do think she stumbled a little bit at the beginning. I think
That's
they've
true.
learned. I think you can see that, announcing things that aren't happening, getting people's, excitement level up and then not following through on it, I think was a little silly. But I do believe that they've learned. Things have seemed more cohesive. The sequel trilogy, my biggest complaint is they don't feel like three cohesive movies.
Exactly.
But I feel like if you look at the High Republic and what they've been doing and the plans that they've put forward in this, and you also look at what we're going to call it, the Filoniverse or Mandoverse or however you want to call it, they are starting to get it. I think maybe they were under a time crunch and had to push stuff out, and maybe they didn't plan out quite. And I understand too, like, oh, let's get these new people in and do all this stuff. It was experiment. I don't know if it failed or not, because I mean they made $1 billion.
Technically, any press is good press, right?
Yeah, I mean, in this day and age, it's all about just getting clicks and just getting views, and it doesn't matter what the news is. So yeah, I think again, I think she's done a fine job. I can't imagine the weight that's on her, trying to resurrect. And people like get on her, but I mean, she was resurrecting Star Wars. Nothing had come out since the prequels, and I mean, it's got to be a daunting task. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to make any predictions. I'm not going to call for someone to be fired from their job. I think that's a little bit insane. Can they get better? Yes. And these people who are calling for her head, I want to know if they've lived their entire life perfect and never made any mistakes at their job.
Yeah. Let's hear from that perfect
we
person.
We love Dave Filoni. We love Jon Favreau. And, those guys are going to stumble. Like, they're going to make mistakes, and we're not going to be calling for their heads.
No.
I think that it's kind of silly. Nobody's perfect. No one's going to they're not going to make the perfect decisions every single time, right? They're going to do what they feel is best, and we're going to ride with it. So, because regardless, I mean, they're not remaking the sequels. No. They're not going to change them. So just deal with it, move forward. But again, like you've said a bunch of times, we have gotten a ton of stuff, and I think maybe we should dive into some of that. We can talk about what we like, what we think needs improved on. So for you, as you're sitting here thinking about it, what has been, as a newish Star Wars fan, I've started watching, like I said before, 1983, Return of the Jedi. I had seen Star Wars prior to that, but that was my first movie experience. And of course, you've given us your background. What has been your favorite part of Lucasfilm Disney since 2012?
I don't know if it was their intention or not, but this live action like boat that we're sailing right now is it's just so good. And I don't know if these live action TV shows like Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, the first ones that came out, like, were these supposed to be movies and then films, and then because of COVID they were changed and altered a little bit to be TV shows? Like, I don't actually know the answer to that, but I don't know where I would be if I didn't have those live action TV shows. I love them. I eat them up.
Yeah, those are great. I don't know. Again, there's all those rumors about. There was a Kenobi movie
that was
going to
happen.
There was a Boba Fett movie coming out. There have been so many rumors about things. I mean, at one point there was rumors that for the Solo movie that they were going to film part of Boba Fett, and it was going to be like from their perspectives, and they were going to run into each other, and so like you'd have the same scene in both movies, which would have been
super
really cool. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that two separate movies that have a scene that they share. But I remember hearing that on a channel, people that are much more in the know than we are. But yeah, I think, like you said, and I think obviously too, like you have plans, like Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan for when they get punched in the face. And I think COVID
And in
punched
the
everybody
groin.
in the face. And I think everyone adapted. Yeah, so everyone got, I think everyone had to adjust. I mean, whose life didn't have to adjust because of COVID? And I think that, they're running businesses, trying to get people, all those employees, they're trying to give them jobs. And the easiest way to do that at the time was live action
Streaming.
TV shows. And obviously now we're, streaming. And I think now we're, I can't wait for August, which is a terrible thing for a teacher to say because we'll be
Yeah,
back
right.
in school in August. But I'm really looking forward to August.
Oh my
So,
God.
and for Ahsoka, but without that and without Dave Filoni and Kathleen Kennedy and everyone, we don't have those shows. We don't have this
Yeah,
excitement.
what do we
So,
have without them?
yeah, I think that's really great.
Remakes?
That's the biggest thing about this merger and this this not merger, but when they bought it, the fact that we just have more stuff, I think it's fantastic for me. And this is a weird one, someone who's been watching it since
Yeah, I
as
want
early
to know
as I
yours.
have been. Solo: A Star Wars Story is my favorite Star Wars movie. We probably just lost
Click.
like all of our
See you
viewers
guys.
after saying that, but and I know that movie. Yeah, that movie. I don't know what it is about that movie. If it's all the stuff with
The
Chewie,
music is great too.
but that has been my biggest joy from Disney Lucasfilm has been Solo: A Star Wars Story. I'm just a massive fan. I'm not going to get into, any of the nonsense, but I personally have enjoyed it. I wish that, I hope that people come around to it. I just think it's one of the most Star Warsy movies that has ever been made, and I really, really enjoyed it. And people are like, "Well, we didn't need it." Well, we don't need any of it.
Yeah,
It's all made up in its first
exactly.
movie, and just enjoy what we enjoy. My biggest that argument to me makes no sense. Well, we didn't need it. Well, realistically, what do we need?
Food and water.
It's not for everyone. That's fine. But yes, you need food, air, water, and
Sleep.
So these people are complaining about that. But how do you feel about they had a rocky start. I'm looking at your list here. They had a rocky start because obviously Clone Wars was very popular at the time. And I did not watch Clone Wars while it was coming out. I binged it on Netflix and stuff. But they canceled. People were up in arms. And then they turn around and now we've got Rebels. We've got the Bad Batch. We've had a lot more Visions, which we talked about last week. So how do you feel about the animation and maybe how, do you think they should have told us what their plan was? Like, hey, we're going to do this. Like, we're canceling this and we're going to do this.
I don't know. Like, because what people said, they canceled Clone Wars so that we could have Rebels, but then we ended up getting another season of Clone Wars anyways. I like the animation stuff. If you tune into my solo show this week about Young Jedi Adventures, which is literally a show targeted towards 3 to 5-year-olds, I'm in love with it. So that's my mentality. I really liked Rebels. I really did. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I did. Ezra is annoying as hell at the beginning, but you kind of grow into it. Sabine is like my favorite character. So I am super excited for the Ahsoka show. And you know what? Now that Ahsoka's coming out, everyone's like, "Oh my God, I have to watch Rebels now." And then they're thinking, you know what? This isn't actually that bad, right? So we're sucking everybody in. We're sucking everyone into the animation. But I like all the animation. I really do. And I can't wait until my daughter's old enough that I can show her like those shows.
Yeah, absolutely. You think about it too, like people didn't like Ahsoka when she came out in the movie. People hated on Ahsoka's character, and now I feel like, for me personally, she's like one of the most beloved characters. But I think she's also has some of the most screen time of any character. I mean, she's got I would like to see how much time she's been on either TV, animated or live action versus,
Yeah.
Ray or even Luke. These characters that we grew up with or we started watching, um, and most people, it seems to be, are very excited for Ahsoka to come out. And if you sit there and you told people, hey, this is going to be a live action character all about Ahsoka, and they'd be like, that girl from the movie. And now that everyone's super excited for it. But like it says the same thing, like about Ezra, like
Hmm.
the story grows, you get attached to him. And I think that's going to be exciting. I think you're right, though. I know that my wife has not watched Rebels, and we're going to try to watch those before Ahsoka comes out, so she can kind of know the story, the background story on those other characters, Hera and
Yeah.
Sabine, and things like that. So, and I'm excited to rewatch it. I've only ever watched it through once. I've watched a couple different episodes here and there,
Yeah.
but
Well,
so I'm
if one
excited
of
for
our
that.
fans, one of our followers wants to spend the time and see how much screen time Ahsoka has had throughout all the different series, like, we will send you some swag. Go for it. First come, first serve, though. And
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be.
And Ahsoka, we first met Ahsoka in the Clone Wars animated TV show, just to be clear. Yes, it is terrible. Yes, it has Jabba's son, Stinky, in it. And honestly,
Stinky,
yeah,
yeah,
and when
the
Ahsoka
movie,
said,
yeah.
"Hey, oh, Sky Guy," like I'm sorry, I just wanted to barf. But now look, I literally talked to Ashley Eckstein, and I was like, "Hey, Snips," and she goes, "Sky Girl," and I nearly died. So, times change, people.
Yes, it does. I had a funny run-in with her. I'll have to tell you about at Anaheim where I froze. I saw her in the hallway, and I thought it was someone I knew because I have seen her so much on social media, and it was like I knew this person, but who is it? And I totally blanked. She stopped to talk to me, and I was like, "Hey,"
She probably
and
liked that.
I was like, I can't place her. So, but yeah, it was crazy. Someday I'll talk to you about the trip of Anaheim and why I'll never go back. But I mean, I'm sure I will. But anyway, uh, I know. Moving on to the next thing that they've given us, the books. I know Taylor, you have started phase 2 of the High
Yes.
Republic series. Did you ever read any of the
You
Legend
know
stuff
what? I was
prior to
actually
it?
talking to Jacob, the Yorkshire Book Club follower, and he said, "Have you read any of the Legends?" And I said, "No, I haven't." And then as I went upstairs to kind of look at what books I had in my to read pile, which is like 6 feet tall, I'm sure. I thought, oh, you know what? I actually have the Legends Kenobi book. Read that, loved it. I wish that was canon. There were little tiny hints in there too from the Kenobi series, which is cool as well. I'm not going to give those away. I also read the Heir to the Empire series, and I have read Outbound Flight, which is a snore, but it's kind of cool to see where Thrawn comes from in that book, because he seems like such a good guy in that one. You'll like him. So that's what I've gotten into. What else? I think I have more, but
Yeah,
that's the ones I can think of right now.
how are you enjoying the High Republic so
Oh my
far?
gosh, I actually am loving it. The beginning of every book it says like the galaxy is unexplored, and they're sending the explorers out into the galaxy to meet new people and find new planets and find new resources. And oh my gosh, I think that is so exciting. It's like pioneering. It's awesome. I'm sure you love that too because you're a history teacher and socials teacher. But I love that. The mystery, their communications aren't as good. Like, I don't even think they have Bacta yet. So, like, someone gets an arm, like, ripped off, and it's like, oh, it'll grow back. He's also, like, the Bosk kind of alien, which their arms do grow back. So, um, I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. People are saying, "Oh, like, are you liking the Nile hints and stuff?" And I'm like, apparently it's going right over my head, but I hope that it'll all piece together one day. And I, as you guys know, have not read phase one, which was what, 150 years? Or is that 200 years? One of them was like 200 years. Yeah.
Well, that's 300 years, I think, before the prequels, and then phase 2
150
jumps
years.
back, I believe,
Yeah.
100 or
So
150 years
I'm
before.
really liking it. Honestly, if you guys haven't jumped into the High Republic and you're thinking, oh, well, I haven't read The Light of the Jedi or anything, like, jump into phase two. That's what I'm doing. Let me know how you guys are liking it. Maybe I'm going at it the wrong way, but I'm liking it. I'm loving it. I want to punch the mother in the face. It's good. It's
I
good.
think yeah, I think we'll have to have, well, obviously, we'll have a discussion about the High Republic. And it's kind of cool that you're coming from it from phase two. And I think you and I talked about this earlier. The kids that grew up as prequelists, and that's the first movies they saw.
Yeah.
And then they see the original trilogy. I think you're going to kind of have that experience as well. And I think it'll be cool to compare our takes on things. And maybe you can say, well, I would have, because you won't see the connections. And it's kind of funny that you mentioned Bacta, because the Light of the Jedi actually
Really?
dives into that. So yeah, it's a big part of the impending disaster that happens. I guess I don't want, like I said, we don't want to do spoilers or anything like that, but yeah, I'm excited to get that. And I'm also excited. There was big news out of Celebration where they're going to slow down. So because my stack, much like yours, it just
Oh
keeps
my gosh.
piling up with books to read, and I've loved them. I don't think that there's been a High Republic book that I haven't enjoyed. They haven't all been like, I want to read this 17 times, but I've enjoyed them. The story continues. They've weaved in and out. I've read the adult novels, the young readers,
Me
and like the
too.
little kid ones too, and they all just tie in so well. The comics as well. I think the
Mhm.
comics have been great, and I just think they've done a really great job with that. As far as the legends, I had the Heir of the Empire series. I had that in
Nice.
hardback, back in the day, and that was like your only Star Wars that we had. So people were eating that up. Um, and then I have
Ooh.
read the Plagueis novel, which is phenomenal. I mean, that in itself, that could be a great TV show or movie like that. That one you have to read. Like, it makes me
Canon.
sad that that's not
Hmm.
canon. And then also the Kenobi one, I've actually
Yeah.
read that like 2 or 3 times. And I think that if they wanted to do a second series on Kenobi,
Should.
that book
Yeah.
would be phenomenal. Like, that would be a great story to tell, especially with them diving more into the Tuscans, and the over these,
Yeah.
with the Mandalorian, and so be cool to get some more background on them. And in Boba Fett. Sorry, I
No,
drew
that's
a blank
okay.
there for a second. But yeah, I think that that's good. I understand why people were upset, because, those books were the only thing that we had, after, um, Return of
Hmm.
the Jedi and everything like that came out. And we got to Heir of the Empire, and then they started all those stories. And that was people's Star Wars. And I think that you can understand why people were upset
Yeah.
that they reset it. But as you see, they
They
slowly
are.
started pulling things back in, and I think that you'll get some of those stories. So last but not least, we've talked about a ton of things. We've kind of gone all over the map here, as you can tell. There's been a lot come out. So Taylor, I guess if you could summarize your feelings about how you feel about Disney Lucasfilm and what you're excited about moving forward.
I am I am actually really happy about the Disney merge over or purchase, because if we didn't have Disney, Star Wars would be dead. I'm sorry. It would be an old movie that we click on every once in a while, and here's a good one from the 2000s, blah, blah, blah. But now we have Galaxy's Edge. We've got all these books. We've got the sequels. We've got the sequels to the sequels coming, which we really hope that they have learned from the sequels, which I think we have, because they did such a good job planning out the High Republic, as we're chatting about. Um, And honestly, I do like that they kind of cleaned up the books a little bit. Like some books were made legends. Like I'm sorry, guys, but I really like the canon, how everything connects together. And I'm not saying that they're not going to bring like Mara Jade and stuff in, because they might. This is Dave Filoni. He loves pulling these people in. He loves these Easter eggs. So don't never say never, guys. Don't get super upset about stuff that was uncanonized, because it could be brought back in. And when they bring that character back, it's going to be super good. They're not just going to bring them in for 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, they are putting a lot of effort into these characters, into this future, into the future of Star Wars, the future of our lives, people. So if we didn't have Disney buying Lucasfilm, we would not have all these amazing things that we have today. We wouldn't have Sir Din Grogu, okay? And if we didn't have that, how many people would just have no purpose in life these days? So you guys can hate me if you want, but I'm loving the Disney Star Wars.
I would have to agree with you fully. And that's the thing, too,
Yeah.
is we didn't even really talk Mandalorian today. You know, we're talking about all this stuff Disney, and the biggest thing out of
Yes.
Disney is probably the Mandalorian. And we didn't even have to mention it until just
How much
now.
there
So
is.
that tells you
Yeah.
it's not perfect. Yeah. You know, nothing's ever going to be perfect. I mean, Marvel's had missteps. You know, people always want to compare Star Wars to that. I am thankful that Disney has purchased Lucasfilm. I think, like you said, I'm in agreement with you. I don't think we'd have a lot more. We wouldn't have all this Star Wars content. We wouldn't have Galaxy's Edge, which is awesome, by the way. And I'm excited for the future. And, you know, as I move along and things get paced out, the books, the comics, the TV shows, I'm not gonna lie to you, I need another Star Wars movie
Even
in
just like
theater,
like a solo one.
but that's coming. You know, yeah. So, but yeah, I'm glad that Disney made the purchase, that they're using it, they're building on it, and I'm excited for the future. So, and I think that's really
Good.
all I've got to say.
Good.
Well, obviously we're both very excited about the Disney and about the future of Star Wars. I'm sure Jack is. You know, we'll hear from him a little bit later, uh, but I think that will be the end of our
Otherwise, we'd go
discussion
on
today.
forever.
We might be on here for 4 hours if we keep talking the stuff that they've created and the stuff that's that's coming out. So yeah, we could be on here for a while. But
until
I think
next
we'll go ahead
week,
and wrap
guys,
things up.
for light and life.
For Jack, this is the way, and for all of us, we have spoken. Thanks for joining Taylor and I this afternoon. Now here's Jack with his Outer Rim report.
Hello everyone, so it's Jack. I have returned from the Outer Rim with lots of new Star Wars goodness, and as you can see, a nice new haircut. I'm slightly red-faced from today being at work with the windburn and the sunburn. However, on to the weekend then. So yeah, I attended the Star Wars Fun Day up at Blackburn Football Club ground, where the event was set up by two gentlemen called Neil Livesley and Paul Dunn, who actually, again, put the event together to unite the love of Star Wars for the fans, but also for a fantastic cause called the East Lancashire Hospice. Again, massive shout out to those two gentlemen. Thank you so much for organising that. It was such a spectacular event, especially enjoyed by all. I managed to take my family up there, my kids, and my wife. Again, it was an absolutely fantastic event. Big shout out and kudos to Neil and Paul. Just on the event of itself then, for where I live, it took me about 2 hours to get there. Once it was in and around that location, it was really easy to get to. Soon as we got towards the entrance, okay, you could see lots of fans again. Some of them were in costume. You've seen all the various costume groups as well, such as the 99th Garrison and the Rebel Legion, just greeting people as they're coming in. Some of the costumes that we've seen there were like Chewbacca, there was a flame trooper there, Vader, some Rebel troopers, Rebel pilots. Sabrine Wren was there walking around. There's loads of bounty hunters. Mando was there. And even one of the Fanford Tracks guys had a Grogu following him about, which I thought was fantastic as well. All the costumes that we saw were just absolutely awesome. I think the costume that stood out the most for me was one of the people attending was the Vader from Kenobi. So we had half the face showing and half the face underneath the Vader helmet where it had been destroyed. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. As well as people dressed up in costumes, there's people dressed up in Star Wars shirts and dresses, and again, they were absolutely fantastic. And it was such a privilege to see these people with the amount of effort that they put into the costumes. It's just absolutely unreal. So upstairs at the entrance, there is essentially split into two different rooms. One side was essentially where the food and drink was. Again, really good ideas there, where there was tombola for prizes just for the kids and adults, to be fair. There was also a load of props. Again, you'll see some of the photos now coming through, where I was lucky enough to get a picture with Yoda, a picture on a speeder bike, and also one of my favourite droids, the Gonk droid. The Night Off Garrison were, again, in that room. They were doing some more prizes, tombola prizes and raffle prizes for the late East Lancashire Hospice, as well as shoot a trooper with some Nerf guns, which again the kids absolutely loved. Again, absolutely incredible. One thing I noticed about the Yoda house as well was the little porg on the top right. Again, absolutely incredible attention to detail there. The speeder bike, you could actually sit on it, okay, get your photo on that. Again, that's absolutely incredible. The amount of work and dedication people putting into some of these props is just unreal. But yeah, absolutely amazing. The food itself was pretty decent as well, a fair price. However, the main room, if you like, was where all the action was really happening. In there was a number of stores selling collectibles from vintage to retro to modern and black series, as well as some Funkos, and also managed to get eyes on some collectibles that could only get at Galaxy's Edge, but obviously someone had brought them to that store there. As well as all the collectible toys, there was some truly amazing artwork by some really talented artists, one of which I was actually quite lucky enough to talk to and get his view on the Star Wars universe. So the video that you're going to see shortly is Stuart from Canvas Creations. So again, this is Stuart from Canvas Creations. Okay, welcome back then. So I'm joined by Stuart, okay, who's doing Canvas Creations. I have a lot of his own personal work here. Okay. So Stuart, what got you into the Star Wars universe?
Oh, it's probably when I was very little. I was born '76, so it was probably all the toys really.
Yeah.
I was a couple of years old. I remember going out to Woolies and getting the toys with pocket money and stuff, and then obviously started watching the films and bought things really.
Nice. And we're doing an episode this week on thoughts about LucasFilm being taken over by Disney. So what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I can see people's problems with it, but in my opinion, it's a good thing. There's obviously more content now, a lot more content, and I love all the series that they've been doing.
Brilliant. And lastly, what's your thoughts or predictions on the new Ahsoka that's coming out soon?
I'm really looking forward to it, and I think there's going to be quite a bit of thrown action going on. So hopefully we'll look forward to a bit of that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Like I said, a lot of this artwork's done by Stuart from Canvas Creations. Okay, whereabouts can they find you, Stuart?
I'm on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Canvas Creations Art, and if you look me up on there, and you should be able to find me on there.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you.
So one of my favourite things about Star Wars and getting to know people is how they actually got into Star Wars. I absolutely love Stuart's story of where he loved just getting toys as a kid from the local shop called Woolworths. Again, we've all been there as young kids, seeing a toy, getting a toy, and just being so excited. But you could really get this sense as well from Stuart. Again, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. His store and his artwork on his canvas was absolutely fantastic. Again, Canvas Creations, Facebook, have a look at them. Absolutely fantastic products. Again, highly recommend. And just the attention to detail and the patience it must take to get all of the artwork done. Again, you see all the videos on the group just. Again, all the attention to detail there was just absolutely unreal. After that then, we just wandered around a little bit, just getting it all in. And we came across all the actors, people involved essentially in the Star Wars universe. Fortunately, I couldn't get any videos or actually chat to them directly because we were that busy with the fans. It was just unreal though, just to see their engagement with the fans, just coming from Celebration, where you could actually take time talking to some of these actors. People that were there were Dave Barkley, puppeteered Jabba, alongside Femi Taylor. Again, she was at Celebration. Samantha Aileen as well. They were all there. But we're doing the Death Troopers. He was there. But again, you see them going around shopping like normal people, obviously, just chatting, getting to know the fans, which I thought again really is fantastic. I've managed to get a chat again with some of the guys from Fantrack. A big shout out to those guys, Mark Newbold, Brian Cameron, and the amusing Paul Naylor, who is from this time of recording is getting married soon. So again, good luck with that. Yeah, guys at Fantrack, extremely friendly. Just give them a bit more encouragement for this podcast. Essentially, yeah, big shout out to those guys. But again, they contributed quite a lot to that event themselves. Again, all up to date news for those guys over there. It's just fantastic to bump into like-minded people and just talk Star Wars, really. Next, whilst I was at the event, I managed to bump into a few fans. Again, as you can see now, okay, these are some of the pictures that we've got of the fans. Okay, people dressing up their kids. Again, absolutely fantastic. So we just had a good general chat about all things Star Wars, really, and the general thoughts about Lucasfilm being taken over by Disney, which we'll come into shortly once we've gone through this. Next, though, I've got to show you this chap from Preston called Dan. Absolutely incredible guy, very laid back, always smiling, talking about Star Wars. However, what I want you to do is pay close attention to the shirt that he'd got on in this video. Let's hear what he has to say.
Cool, so I'm here now with Dan from Preston. A couple of questions for Dan there. So what's your thoughts on Lucasfilm being taken over then by Disney?
Myself, I quite like the idea of it. I definitely want to see more, and I definitely want to say it's going for the Jedi side, Star side. I definitely want to see more going ahead with it. It's got good vibes.
Brilliant. And what's been your favourite thing since Disney have taken over and why?
I would probably say I did enjoy Mando. Definitely remember all the series, and I definitely liked those.
Brilliant.
They definitely had a good vibe on it.
Awesome. And last thing then, with Ahsoka coming out, what's your predictions on what's going to happen with Ahsoka?
I'm not sure, because I definitely know I need to recap and go through Rebels again to get myself back on track, ready for it in August. So I am looking forward to it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Dan.
No problem at all. Thank you.
So that was Dan from Preston. Again, nice personalised shirt there that he got from the place where he works with Fabrics. Again, big shout out to Dan. Thank you for being so friendly, taking the time to talk. Again, full of positive things about the takeover. But again, with him, you could really sense his excitement for all things Star Wars generally. Next, as we carried going round, we actually bumped into someone in the Rebel Legion called Richard. Again, very enthusiastic, always smiling. Absolutely loved chatting to this guy. He looked fantastic. Here's his video.
So I'm joined here by Richard. So Richard, what got you into Star Wars?
Coming along to some events with my little lad, who was 3 and 4 at the time, and seeing some big group patrols at Legoland in the UK, where Rebel Legion and various costuming groups came out. So really, it's sort of inspiration and seeing how good they are with the kids of wanting to then get into it myself.
Awesome. And with Lucasfilm being taken over by Disney, then what's your thoughts on that?
I think, there's some die-hard Star Wars old fans out there that have grown up with Star Wars and see it, I think, going off in ways that they perhaps don't agree with.
Yeah.
I think you've always got to come back to it through the eyes of, like my lad who's now 9.
Yeah.
You might not like Jar Jar Binks, but you look at his, through what he thinks, and he'll watch those films and he loves him as a character. But you've got to see now how excited we get as fans with The Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, and the Bad Batch and things like that. All that new content that we could look forward to on TV every week.
More content
it's opened up a whole new Star Wars, which I think is just
and everyone loves more Star Wars.
Exactly.
Brilliant. And I'll finish up then with the new Ahsoka coming out. What's your thoughts and predictions on that?
Again, like the animated series, I think it will probably divide opinions. But I think in general, I think there'll be a lot of people out there that love it and come out. I'm looking forward to it anyway.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you for your time.
Again, as you can see with Richard, extremely enthusiastic, which was really the general feel overall. Again, everyone's there just for the love of Star Wars. But again, you see with Richard as well, he's quite new into the Star Wars universe, which was good. I like seeing that aspect of things, because not everyone has liked Star Wars for all these years. But yeah, I really liked his story where his kid and himself going to events, and that's what got him into the costume things as well. overall, my own personal thoughts about Disney taking over, super positive, as you saw in a lot of those videos there. The move is fantastic because the amount of content that we're getting, it's just unreal. Even from the content of films, documentaries, like the making of the TV series, even from Galaxy's Edge. There's more stuff for kids. There's books. There's comics. There's Star Wars to your heart's content. Completely agree with what Kathleen Kennedy was saying about having to eventize the films now. I think they'll get that right. But again, with Kathleen Kennedy, her passion is films, and she really does show that. I think it's Disney and Lucasfilm come together. It's just a fantastic move for everybody. I'm personally super hyped as well for Ahsoka, which again, it's going to be another smash hit, without a shadow of a doubt, 100%. But again, the general feel from that day, as you can see in all the pictures, everyone's smiling, everyone's super positive about the Disney takeover. And yeah, it's looking good. I think it's really, really looking good. I think that pretty much wraps it up for my report from Star Wars Fun Day. Like I said, really, really well done to the two organisers there, Neil Lardsley and Paul Dawn, on organising such an incredible event. Absolutely fantastic. Next year, I'm 100% getting VIP tickets. Really well organised, dead relaxed. Loads of things to see and do with all the stores. I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time out in let me have pictures with them and also recording them. Again, if you guys were at the event, please like, comment, subscribe on the video. Just leave any comments you got down below for us. Let me know what you liked about the event. And yeah, absolutely incredible event. Well done. Big shout out again to the Fan for Tracks guys. Thank you all for the comments so far. And yeah, I'll see you all next week. Thank you.